So I see often a lot of generators for sale online on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever. And they'll say, well, the engine runs great and it's sat for, a couple years and now the generator head doesn't work. So they're selling it really cheap, The purpose of this video is to show you real quick how to resolve that, because there's a very, very high percentage chance that it's something real easy, and I'm going to show you how to check that out today. So you don't have to sell your generator cheap to the lowest bidder. You can get it running back yourself, usually with a little bit of basic tools and a little bit of basic knowledge. So let me show you what we're up against. This is about a 20-ish year old Briggs & Stratton generator. Very similar to pretty much, most of the generators out there. And at any rate, the principles are almost all the same across these generators. Let me show you what's happening with this, and then we'll go into how to resolve it. It's starting to do this thing where it doesn't make full voltage. We're making 50, maybe 45 volts. Doesn't matter what outlet I check. Got it down so you can actually hear me here. So lately it's started doing this, and sometimes it's managed to kick on and successfully make 120 volts. Anyway, I've been keeping it covered to protect it since it sits out here in the heat, and I've had the usual fuel problems with using non-ethanol fuel, but this is the first time it started actually not generating properly. Up to this point, the generator head has worked flawlessly. So most generators are going to have some kind of access plate, whether it's the band type or the cap type. They're going to have a way to access the end of the generator head. So you want to get in there. On these, it's pretty easy. And you just pull the cap off. Sometimes you'll have bugs in there. Get out of there. So now that we've debugged our generator, you'll have some kind of electronic control or voltage regulation these days usually. And of course you'll have your hookups and your plugs, and you want to look for, on the end of the generator shaft, there's going to be a series of slip rings or a commutator and brush system. So if we look in here on this one, there's two brushes that point down, one for each leg. We're going to unscrew that. And this one, you don't even have to unplug anything. I should be able to work this out just by... Come on. See, this is broken. Let's, so you can see the carbon brushes here. Put the screw up here where I'm bound to lose it. So you can see the carbon brushes here. They're spring-loaded. And basically, they make the connection between a spinning bar in there and the actual output leg. So these brushes are, they're worn in, but they should be fine. And there's plenty of life left, because you can tell how far they're pressed down or pulled out. And if it kind of springs off a little bit when you take that screw out, you know that there's spring pressure behind the brushes, so that part's good. So now I think I'm gonna take this off so we can maybe see a little bit better in there. I don't know. These things break from time and heat sometimes. Put that back in for now. Okay, so now hold this plug back and we can look down in there and you can see the contacts. Those spin with the generator while the brushes stay stationary and it makes continuous contact. So these are either going to be like brass or copper, or, you know, plated in something. So they're very dirty though. So I'm going to try to clean those up without pitting them. Now you've got to be real careful. If you use something like sandpaper or something, you risk getting like the bits of grit from the sandpaper might fall off and get embedded in the soft metals in the copper or the brass. So something like Scotch-Brite that isn't going to shed into it will be good. And you don't want to get too aggressive because there's not a lot of material there. It's not tremendously deep. And you don't want to take away material or make it oval or misshapen or put grooves in it or anything. You just want to clean it, get any of the buildup carbon or heat-induced particulates off of there, and get a better connection. They can also corrode depending on what they make it out of. If it sits a long time, they can corrode and get dirty, and then you won't get a good connection until you clean it up. So let's see what we can do for that. I might start with like a brass brush or something. Let's see what we have. So I've got some Scotch-Brite and a brass brush. Now you never want to use something aggressive like a steel brush. A nylon brush would work too, but it might not be aggressive enough. But brass, of course, on brass is not going to do too much damage. So I'm going to see. It's kind of hard to get in there. Patience is your friend. You just want to just clean it up, get any of that gunk or corrosion, any of that stuff off of there. Be real careful. You don't want to scratch these or anything, because if you ruin it, that's it. It already feels a lot better. You can get in there with your finger and you can kind of feel, if you feel tracks or traces or anything, you want to try to remove particulate traces that you can feel with your fingers, anything like that. So I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't, but we're already looking a little bit better as far as cleaning. What you should see is, in this case, you can kind of see there's a little bit of a brass colored band beside the dirty band. It's all brass, and as the brass color starts to come back, that's the dirt wearing off. So ideally you would want it completely brass again. So you can see there's already a little bit of improvement. You just want to keep doing that so it comes around. It's just a lot of patience and elbow grease, and you don't want to get frustrated and get too aggressive. What happens is the contamination and particulates are non-conductive usually, unless it's worn away carbon that gets embedded in there. Carbon is conductive, and that's what the brushes are made out of. But what you can do is get dirt and dust and everything, especially if it's been stored in a dirty environment or dusty, and that can get worn into the rings, and you don't want that. So hopefully you'll be able to see that the brass is almost all one color again, or bronze, or whatever it is, I don't know. In this case, this inner one is a lot harder to get to because the casting of the case is right there, but now, like I said, this isn't always the issue with generators, but most of the time people let them sit and then they won't fire up the generator head for them and generate power. And if that's the case, this is usually what it is. Things like your regulator and things like that can go bad, but not as common. Equally, your brushes could fail or break or something like that too, but not as likely. Now we'll just reinstall the brushes. I was talking about spring pressure earlier. So this is what I mean, where you have to kind of press it down to get it to lock in. Alright, back here to our outlet. We're still not getting good voltage. So here we run into the common, everyday, modern parts conundrum. This regulator, to get the proper brand name regulator, is about $200-ish. So it's a tough one. Do you have to replace this and spend the money for a good one? Or do you have to replace it and spend the money for a cheap one? Or do you just go out and get a different generator or a newer generator for just slightly more money? This is the ridiculous situation we live in today. Well, I know the engine on this is good, and I know the generator set is really good. It's not tremendously high hours. It's been used regularly. It's been maintained. I know that it has. So I opted for the cheap Chinesium knockoff that doesn't even have any numbers on it. Will it work? I don't know. Will it be high quality? Definitely not. But this is the one we're going with. I just, unfortunately, I don't like the unknowns of getting a replacement generator. I can't afford a brand new one, and I can't afford the actual brand name voltage regulator. So already you can see the differences here. So, well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of the same, but kind of not. You can see they opted to build it a little differently. But, well, hopefully it'll work. Wait, up top, not that it matters, that's just the phase. These in. I mean, I guess we'll see. How all these Chinesium regulators actually work. Oh, for starters, this doesn't even want to plug in. Goodness. Wow. There we go. Oh. Pins are so loose in the connector, you kind of got to bend them this way to keep them from going off course. That's pretty bad. Okay, stick that back where we were. There. I miss the good old days when they didn't have complicated voltage regulators, but on the other hand, these voltage regulators are more precise and you can get a cleaner signal. I mean, sure, older generators don't have these complicated electronics in them, but you can't get a clean signal either. I have used some older generators and tried to run some electronic devices on them, and it doesn't work quite as well. The signal, the wave generation is not quite up to par. But it may not be with this Chinesium one either. I don't know. We'll find out, I suppose. So, as far as generators go, these, I believe this might be like a Generac head unit or something similar. I think it is made by Generac, even if it's not labeled Generac. With these, there's not much more to them than that. If the wiring is okay at that point, and the voltage regulator is okay, and the brushes are okay, and the rings in there are okay, then it'll generate electricity as long as, you know, the coils aren't completely destroyed. So, I mean, those are basically the things you got to check, you know. And if it is generating, you know, a couple volts like ours was, then, you know, probably the actual generator head is okay as far as the windings. So yeah, let's fire this up and see if that made a difference. Okay, 120 volts, nice and steady. That was our that's just a quick run through on maybe how to get your generator back to life really quick. And hopefully this is useful to someone. That is why I do these videos. So if you like this, feel free to like, subscribe, tell me what I did wrong down below as usual. And as always, thanks for watching.